Hi everybody, this is Bob from Buckeye Sports Center. I'm really excited today to present you with an all-new model and an all-new series from Lund. So this is the new heavy gauge series, which is brand new for 2026. This is the 20-foot, the 200 HG model. All right, so this is a different breed from what Lund's known for in the past. So traditional Lund boats kind of have your normal aluminum hull. You know, Lund's got their double riveted seams, kind of like the normal Lund IPS hull construction, but this is kind of a whole different ballgame, a whole different animal. So we're really excited because, you know, this type of boat has become more and more popular in the Midwest, more and more popular in Lake Erie, and we think we're going to, quite frankly, sell a ton of these. So this is really awesome. It's priced great, and a ton of features, you know, just loaded with Lund DNA like you're used to, but in this new kind of heavy gauge, super heavy duty kind of boat that was kind of traditionally was designed for the Pacific Northwest, rockier conditions, some of the riverbeds and stuff like that that sometimes get rocks. Also, rain, weather. You know, these boats you can kind of, you know, escape from the rain and the weather if you want to. So, you know, once we get inside, we'll kind of see how great the layout is. But the first thing is, just from the build perspective, we're talking about an all aluminum boat, wood free. You know, we've got sound deadening foam built in, flotation foam built in, but the unique thing about this is that unlike other Lunds, this is going to be a fully welded boat, which is kind of the par for the course for this type of what they call heavy gauge aluminum. And this boat is built in not in this traditional Lund factory, but in Washington State, which is where a lot of these heavy gauge boats, you know, kind of come from, that Pacific Northwest. And it's been built in a factory that's been building these type of boats for over 40 years. So Lund partnered with this company, got the Lund features on it, some of the Lund benefits you want to see, but also kind of blended that with their knowledge of heavy gauge to create what we see today, which is a great value product, a premium product from Lund in the heavy gauge segment. So first off, you can definitely see the half hardtop is definitely one of the key features of this boat. The traditional standard layout of this boat's just going to have what they call kind of this large aluminum crafted windshield that'll end about right here. All right, so we've got kind of a traditional windshield, which is the standard, or you can opt for the half hardtop like this boat has. Me personally, if I'm going to look at this type of boat for our conditions, for what you're looking at, I mean, I personally would probably lean more toward the half hardtop, just to give you that difference of, you know, kind of differentiate it from the other Lund models. Because if I was just looking for a normal windshield boat, I might just stick with what I normally do with the, you know, traditional Lund aluminum models, where there be, you know, a Baron or a Fisherman or something along those lines. You know, the half hardtop is kind of what gives this boat a little bit of uniqueness as far as the features and layout of the boat. So we're going to kind of go through, we'll look at the transom area, and then we'll move inside. Okay, so I move inside the transom area, and this is obviously a little bit unique also from what you're traditionally set up with Lund. So we really wanted to maximize the interior cockpit space of this boat. So even though this boat's considered a 20-foot boat, it's actually, I think, approaching 23 feet as far as the overall length goes, because of this platform in the back. And obviously, you know, as you enter and exit the boat, we do have a boarding ladder back here. Again, everything's heavy duty, really set up, you know, kind of in that, you know, premium setup. But, you know, if you're trying to catch a fish or bait something or access to the dock and stuff like that, you have this nice platform with a little step up in the cockpit. They do have an optional door here that opens up, where you can actually just, you know, kind of open up the door. That is an option on this model. This particular boat does not have it, but you can get that. Other things that we see here, we've got a space for a ski tow bar if you do want to, you know, use this boat in a, you know, more of a family setup. We've got that set up. We also have that super big live well back here, which is kind of one of the key features of this model. Aerator pump, you know, just super big pump-in live well or ice chest, however you want to use it. We also see the optional downrigger bracket setups back here. You can add a downrigger to the boat. We've got also a grab handle. Again, everything's super heavy duty. You know, good fit and finish on this boat. On this Lund 200 HG. Okay, so right now I'm standing in the super large cockpit area of this 200 HG. We also showed a video, and we also have a one in stock on the 185 model. And between those two models, the area where you can tell the difference as far as the spacing goes is right here. So this one's definitely a little bit bigger, about 1.5 to 2 feet larger in this space. So this is kind of your open, away from the canvas, away from the hardtop, kind of your general trolling space or whatever you want to use, fishing space here in this boat. We do have 3 storage compartments, pretty large storage compartments underneath here. This is just kind of a box where you can put some tackle or something like that or whatever. And then on both sides here, you can actually store rods in here. So these are long enough to store rods. We have a nice gas assist shock, but you could probably get, at least 2, 3, 4 rods on each side if you need to. Or if you want more of an on-the-go quick access storage, you've got the on-the-go on either side of the boat, both starboard and port. All right. Other little cool little things, cup holder, a little storage tray for, whatever you might need right here, right near your downrigger bracket. A nice boarding entry and exit non-skid, all right, which makes it a little bit more safe to enter and exit the boat. Again, this boat's wood-free. Really, the only carpet that's really in this boat is kind of on the sides of the boat. We're not seeing really anything in the compartments. It's all vinyl wrapped. All these compartments here, you have access to, things like your live well pumps, your plumbing for that, your bilge, that type of area. This boat also, as we can see over here, does have the washdown. All right, so it's got the washdown hose, the washdown station. So once you get that set up, you can kind of take water from the lake, hose your boat down, this boat comes with that as part of the standard feature. The other thing I'll mention is we do have tons of rod holders built into the top here. We also added some extras as an option. So I'm just counting on here. I'm seeing, 8 up top plus at least 3 on each side, actually 5 on each side. So there's tons of rod holder capability for this boat, not even counting what we got in the downrigger setup. Okay, so I've kind of moved inside the little cabin area here, which again, this is kind of a unique feature that a lot of Ohio boaters are just kind of starting to see this come about, see boats with this style. Which again really makes sense if you're fishing well into the fall or earlier in the spring. You want to go out in Lake Erie, you want to go out somewhere where it's cold, wet. You don't have to worry about anything as far as you can close this whole area off, be pretty, really, really nice. I've even had some customers mention they have even little portable space heaters they put in here. There's actually an optional feature where you can turn this into more of a bed area if you really wanted to, but really what I'm going to talk about here is just the space to lay out some of the features of this half hardtop. Right now we've got, the seat. This boat's rated for 7 people, but there's an easy spot to six people comfortably inside this kind of cabin area. So I got 2 seats on either side here, as well as the captain and the co-captain chair over here. We've got also on this particular model, we've upgraded to the suspension chair. So for rougher conditions, you can see the suspension built into both captain and co-captain. So that's an optional feature that we've added to this particular boat. Other things that are included as part of the package for the half top, we obviously see the canvas here built in to the calf top. There's also a cover separate that will cover the whole rear of the boat, so you can cover the entire rear of the boat as well. But as far as what you normally use on a given day, is this would be kind of the setup that you would use for fishing in those type of conditions. I do have a video out there of the 21-foot HG model. I did not be able to do a video on this model on the water, but there's a lot of similarities, almost identical between obviously the 20-foot and the 21. So if you look at the video of the 21, you kind of want to see how that boat handles, how it deals with the water. And I remember on that one, we had a bunch of people in the boat, and it was a little bit, I think it was raining or something like that, but there's definitely, you kind of got a good feel of how the boat felt on the water in those rougher conditions. We see the sliding windshield here. So if you did want to open it up, you can open up the center window. You can get breeze through the side windows. We've got windshield wipers as part of the package. Good amount of storage underneath both of these seats, okay, as well as in floor. So again, tackle boxes, that type of stuff. Whatever you might want. There's a little bit larger storage compartment down there. Nice large glove box that Lund is known for here on the port side. All right, the other thing I kind of like is all these little grab handles. So let's say I'm just riding down the lake. I don't want to sit down. I just feel more comfortable standing up. There's really, really good extrusions built in. There's actually one even set up over here for the driver area, passenger area. So there's a lot of spaces to kind of grab on to something structural, depending on how you're riding. I know sometimes if it's a little rougher, I'm actually in a better, more comfortable position, just kind of standing like this, as opposed to sitting down. So, and we have a nice LED light bar right here as well. And you know, I'm 6'2", and I'm easily getting in here really comfortably. So even a person who's 6'3" and 6'4" really doesn't have to worry about hitting their head on anything or banging into anything. So all really, really good. Again, little cool built-in storage compartment right here on each side as well. So again, really, really cool layout, really good functionality of this 200 HG. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the driver's seat area. We talked about the suspension chair already. I can kind of feel that right now as I'm getting in the boat. A little bit of suspension built into the seat, which is really cool. I've got my kicker motor controls here behind on the back side, and then I've got my 200, and this particular boat is set up with a 225 horsepower Mercury V6, kind of a new technology motor. So that's going to be the large motor on this boat. And then the 15 horsepower kicker is already set up that way, as most of our customers we feel are going to be trolling or using it in some type of application similar to that. So this one's already kind of loaded up, ready to go for what we feel is most Lake Erie boaters. But the throttle handle for the 225s are located a little bit more up forward. And then on this boat, we typically will opt on the 20 and 21 foot models. If we're stocking it, we'll usually add the trim tabs. Okay, so the trim tabs are located right here. Obviously they're mounted on the transom part of the boat, but if we want to, you know, if the boat's leaning one or the other, we're loading up heavier people on the left versus heavier people on the right, or the wave conditions are coming at a certain angle, I can stabilize the boat and let it run pretty flat with the trim tab. So it's an additional adjustment that typically we'll put on this boat in that 20 or 21 foot size. And this particular boat has it already. Full instrumentation package, all the switches you ever need, and then huge area to mount whatever graph you might want to add, or dual graphs here on the dash area. So last thing we're going to talk about is what we got going on in the bow. Number one, if you put a seat cushion right here, there's your 7th seat for your 7th person, kind of facing backwards. So that would kind of, you know, fit everybody, you know, below the windshield. Obviously they have to keep an eye out not to hit their head on the windshield and that type of stuff. But if you got a small kid or something, that would be a sufficient, you know, 7th seat facing backwards. Just obviously be careful in that particular setup. A little different bow area compared to traditional Lunds. This is a super stubby, super short bow. So we really want to maximize the cockpit space. You can see how this boat is very similar to even 24 foot boats in the cockpit. That's because we shorten up the bow quite a bit. However, the bow is versatile in that you can put, and it is wired for, a bow mount electric motor. So in the Pacific Northwest, that's not a real common thing to add. However, in the Midwest and the Great Lakes region, that is something that is common. So Lund designed this boat so that that could be added with a flat mounting surface up there for, you know, pretty much any trolling motor that you might want to add to the boat. We've got it pre-wired for up to 36 volts in batteries. So there's 3 battery trays right here in the storage compartment that you know, if you weren't going to use a trolling motor, you can just take that stuff out and use it as additional storage. There's also additional storage compartment up in the bow as well. The other thing I like about the bow area is, you know, a lot of times, again, you're going out there on a rainy day or an ugly day, you're getting spray up there or whatever. It's a self-bailing bow. So that means that all the water that goes into that bow just goes directly outside the boat. It does not get into your bilge area and build up all this extra water in your boat that doesn't need to be there. It's set up so that all that water will just drain directly outside the boat. So in summary, check out the on-water video that I did on the 21 foot version of this boat. Also check it out on the 18 foot version of this boat. But, you know, very similar between the features and benefits of all the models, the 185, the 200, and the 210, all very similar layouts, very similar features. Lund tried to make this super simple. Most everything on the boat is standard. There's not a lot of extra options. We did add a few options to this boat, but for the most part, everything is standard, which is really, really cool. So, you know, performance, I can't remember what we got on that one, but I'm sure you'll be looking at speeds, you know, in upwards of over 50 miles an hour for this boat setup with a 225, even with that heavy gauge aluminum, which is, 19 thousandths, which is like a lot of aluminum boats out there are basically just 10 thousandths. So basically you're looking at almost double what you traditionally see on a bottom hull configuration compared to other aluminum boats. And then the transom area is even bulkier than that at 0.25. So it's even another 60 gauge heavier than the bottom of the hull. So super excited about this boat, super excited about this HG line from Lund. We're really excited about it because anytime we get something brand new, it's always kind of cool and exciting, and particularly for our customers. The other really nice thing about this, I mean, I could easily see something like this. You see, okay, price tag, what is it? It's going to be 150 grand or whatever, 160, 170,000. It's not that high. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what the price is. You can find that on our website for this boat, but it is nowhere near, as far as the sale price on a trailer, anywhere near that price range. So the pricing is going to be very, very aggressive for basically, at the end of the day, two motors, almost a 23-foot overall length of the boat. You're going to be pretty happy and pretty impressed with what you're going to get for the value on that boat for that price. So thanks again for checking out the 200 Lund HG with us at Buckeye Sports Center. For more information, visit our website, buckeyesportscenter.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the water.